Hi folks, it's Kevin here again. Today I'm back in the nature of Finland, and it's a place called Pinkjärvi. It's about an hour and a half's drive north of where I live in Turku, and the trail is only it's a head clearer really. It's just a chance to get out and breathe some fresh air, set up a hammock, cook some food, and then just chill out in the nature. So it's not really a strenuous or demanding hike as such. It's only a 5-kilometer circular route. The weather has been very pleasant of late in Finland, with bright sunny days and temperatures going into the mid to high teens. Today is no exception. We got to 17 degrees today during the afternoon. Oh, it's starting to cool down now. It's currently about 5:30 in the afternoon, and it's forecast to drop to about 5 degrees or maybe a little bit lower tonight. It's interesting that most of the trees here are spruce with some birch in between. It's funny because I usually associate spruce woods as being dead straight lines all planted close together, and pretty much no natural light, or very little natural light reaching the forest floor. Here though, there's lots of light and lots of undergrowth canopy. There's different berry bushes and mosses, and it just shows you what you can do with planting spruce. It doesn't have to be just the dark, dim monoculture that, for example, you find in the forestry in Ireland. There are a lot of downed trees along the trail, and it seems like the last storm that came through here did a bit of damage. These woods are protected, and I know this because when the trees have fallen down and have been sawn, they're left to rot. This allows fungal species and insect species to take advantage of the downed wood, and this helps increase the biodiversity of the area. If this was a forest that was managed for timber, that wood would have been taken out and used. In the spring, before the canopy starts to grow over on the trees, the flowers in the forest floor make the most of the available light. And the typical species for Finnish woods are these white anemones, and there are also blue anemones, although they look purple to me. And here is our first glimpse of Pinkjärvi Lake, and very nice it looks too in the sunshine. There should be a lean-to shelter, a lava around here somewhere. This bay that's in front of us is called Mustalahti, or Black Bay, and from what I can see, it's a dark water or humic water system where the water looks like Guinness. Actually, I'm sure it doesn't taste like Guinness, but it's this sort of very dark water stained by organic matter. So here we are at the opening of Mustalahti Bay, which opens then onto Pinkjärvi in that direction. And as mentioned, there is a laavu or lean-to shelter here. You see the name of it there, Mustalahti, and it has a fire pit and a log built lean-to shelter, and you can sleep in here at night. It's allowed. Okay, here is also a horse for sawing wood, a block for chopping wood, and a rather interesting device that you'll see some places in Finland. It's a sort of a metal thing that's screwed to the wall and has a handle. So it's got a blade along the bottom, and then it's got like steps underneath where you can place the log, and that'll give you some point to which to lever against. See if I can get it, if I can do it by putting my weight on it. There we go. And it splits the log, and you can keep on doing that until you have very small pieces that you can use to light a fire. Quite simple, and a lot safer than using an axe if you're not used to using it. So no danger of accidentally slipping with the axe and taking off one of your toes. Okay, so I arrived to an area called Vuotava, where there's another wind shelter, and this is where I'm going to set up the hammock for the night. The other place was very nice, but according to the information that I found, it's allowed to actually put a tent at this particular one, not at the other one, so I'm staying within the rules. Let's have a look at the wind shelter. It's rather interesting. This one has actually two buildings, and they are wind shelters that are built with their openings facing towards each other with a central fire pit. And so far in Finland, this is the first time I've ever seen one of these. There's currently nobody here at the moment, but yeah, you have a central fire pit, you've cut wood over there. This particular side is for sleeping in, and then on this side there are table and benches. There's a sign over there, it says kuiva käymälä and puuvarasto. So basically there's a dry toilet, and a puuvarasto is a woodshed. As is usual with a wind shelter, when it's in an area like this, there is a visitor's box, which is that green box there. Some information about lighting fires and leaving rubbish, of course. And in case of emergency, the coordinates are given for the wind shelter, and of course in Finland for emergencies you phone 112. So I'm all set up with the camp. It took me a while. It's the usual Lesavik Draka with a DD Hammocks super light tarp 3x3. This time though I've strung the tarp along its diagonal, so I only need 2 pegs to keep the corners down to the ground. The wind is blowing sort of side on to the tarp, so I'm using a trekking pole just to keep the tarp a little bit further away from the hammock itself. So in an attempt to keep some heat in and hopefully not too much moisture as well, I'm using this reflective tarp that I've used before as a ground sheet, just to see how it'll fare, keeping some of the warmth in. I'm hoping that where the mesh is exposed, it will be enough to allow any moisture trapped inside to escape. So I've had my evening meal, and now I'm just going to make a nice cup of tea and have a little snack. And I think I've maybe shown these before, but these are from a Finnish company called Elovena. They're like oat bars, and this one has tumasukla, or dark chocolate like chips in it. It's quite good. There are like 5 or 6 different types you can get, but they're very good snack bars for hiking and camping. They give you lots of energy. Good morning, folks. Well, that was a good sleep last night. There wasn't too much noise in the way of birds or things on the lake last night. There were a few swans calling, but nothing major. And the birds were fairly quiet this morning. They didn't start singing until about, I guess, 6:30. But I was deep asleep, so yeah. Yeah, it was comfortable in the hammock. Tossed and turned a bit, trying to find the sweet spot of kind of lying half on my side, half on my back. But yeah, I slept okay. It's really peaceful here this morning. There's barely a ripple on the lake, and yeah, it's just me and the birds, it seems. So yeah, I've made my breakfast, I have my coffee, and I have some porridge, and I'm just going to enjoy the peace now, and yeah, just enjoy nature. Ooh, lovely. I want to make a little record of the reflective ground sheet that I used to overlay the top of my hammock last night. So basically the reflective ground sheet just hung over the top of the ridgeline like that. It's just draped. What I think I might do in future would be to either make some pegs from some wood, or else just bring some closed pegs with and just clip them to the ridgeline. It should just hold it in place. And then I just used the whoopee sling loose end just to tie these two ends together. The wind was coming in this direction last night, so it was just to stop it flapping. Because there is mesh exposed at each end of the hammock, any condensation seemed to escape through here. I think also in conjunction with the actual bug net itself, which also traps in a certain amount of heat, makes a sort of a microclimate inside the hammock. I think the ground sheet kind of reinforced that, because you couldn't feel a noticeable difference once I unzipped and stood up this morning out of the hammock. It was noticeably colder outside. One thing that I noticed that was actually quite good as well was the fact that it made the inside of the hammock quite dim, and that also helped me sleep, because it gets light at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning nowadays. Another possibility I could use instead of the ground sheet, which is considerably lighter, and also with the idea of having a sort of a dual function, would be to use I have a poncho which also has a reflected inner. Okay, so there's the poncho with the reflected inner draped over the ridgeline of the hammock. Yeah, actually in terms of aerial coverage, it's not too much smaller than the ground sheet, but it is certainly a lot lighter. Downside is, of course, it's a good bit flimsier, and yeah, it won't potentially last as long. Although one good thing is that like the ground sheet, there are grommets, eyelets at the corners, and so I could actually potentially tie the ends together, or even span out some guy lines to the ground to keep it in place. But I still think potentially the best way to, if it doesn't sit by itself, would be just to use some clothes pegs, and that would just keep it in place quite nicely. I'll have to try that on the next camp, because this pipe system is definitely nice for keeping warm and for cutting out light. So folded up, here is a comparison of the ground sheet against the poncho, and as you can see, it's quite a bit smaller. I haven't weighed these to figure out how much of a weight difference there is, but yeah, this is definitely the lighter option. Okay folks, I'm in the process of packing up my gear, and my battery is running out on my GoPro, so I will finish the video here. Thanks a million for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the video. As I said, this is a head clearer just to get out of the house and get some fresh air, and yeah, here in Pinkjärvi Lake it certainly worked. I had a really nice sleep, and I have a short hop back to the car now, just a couple of kilometers. So yeah, this trip has made my weekend. Thanks a million for joining me, and yeah, as always, I hope to catch you on the next trail. This is Kevin signing off from Pinkjärvi Lake. All the best. Moi moi.